So, Haley, how about we start a podcast?
I mean, I guess if you really want, that sounds fine, I suppose.
Seeing as, like, we have a microphone out and stuff.
That's fair. And we've been recording for, like, how many minutes already?
Maybe, like, 14 seconds.
Yeah, that one. I do that.
So, Haley, do you want to read some books and chill?
That's exactly what I want to do. So, Allie, I think that if we're going to start a podcast, I think the best way to do that is just barely ever get together.
Right.
Read some books independently.
Sure.
And then talk about it like once a week.
Kind of like a digital book club?
Almost like a digital book club.
Wow. Ooh. Oh, shit. I think that we have a really good podcast idea.
I think so too, honestly. So yeah, good morning, everyone out there.
Oh, damn.
So Allie and I are doing a digital book club. And it's going to be the best thing in the universe, so...
Almost like a creative idea that will actually stick this time.
Oh, shit. See, the problem with our creative ideas is that Allie is a magician at creating stuff, but I am a magician at flaking out of stuff. I don't even know how it happens. I just stop existing, I'm pretty sure.
Too real.
Real. But this time, I will just be reading books.
So it pretty much works out this time, because I've given you an idea that you can't really flake out of, because you love this, and now we're just going to be talking about it.
That's literally
I'm
true.
just giving you an option to record it this time and upload it so that everybody can be hearing about our stupid jokes.
Exactly, as opposed to me just like calling you crying about random books that I read independently. We'll just record that.
Yep, and upload it to the internet.
Magic.
Hey, so Haley, should we introduce ourselves to the internet?
Yes. Good morning, internet. My name is Allie Johnson.
Stop saying good morning, because now you're giving me a lot of restrictions, and now I have to upload this in the morning.
That's not even true. We are literally recording this at... Wow, Allie, wow. But we are literally recording...
I didn't do anything. That's just how I express happiness, is just by dinging. So.
That's true. Apple actually got their sound clips straight from Allie. Like, she makes those sounds organically.
Yeah, they actually pay me the royalties. Like, I just express happiness, and they pay me for that.
Every time you're in the grocery store and you hear someone's phone go off and 18 people check their phones, Allie gets like $1 million from
Yeah, that's me. I don't actually pay for college. It's just me making happy noises, and they pay for that.
How do I get in on that? Because I pay too much for college.
The thing is that you don't have any happiness, so...
Ooh, too real. And with that... So, my name is Alexandria Taylor.
Oh my God, shut up, Haley, God.
Wow, just blow my cover, Allie, it's fine. Anyways, so, I'm not Allie, but Allie is, I'm pretty sure, 22 years old. And
that would be correct. I would make one of my noises, but I can't right now.
It would be too distracting from the podcast.
Yeah, everybody would be checking their phones right now.
Real. Allie is a graduate student because she graduated from a school.
Correct.
Recently-ish.
Correct.
And now does some other stuff at a different school.
Also correct.
Yes. Allie wants to be a teacher because she has not yet realized that public schools actually don't let you just like teach your feminist agendas. They have like curriculums and things you have to do.
Whoop, there it is.
But she's going to make an attempt, and it's probably going to work out because that's how Allie lives her life.
Yep, also correct.
The only other really important thing you guys need to know about Allie, and I really just want you guys to sit and think about this for a moment, okay?
Oh, God.
Allie does not own a hairbrush. The last time Allie owned a hairbrush was when we were in high school, and I basically lived at her house so that I could brush my hair. I owned a hairbrush.
That's very true. Thank you, Haley.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling me out on my shit.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
So, I'm Haley.
Wow.
Wow. No, that's like all I could do with my voice. So Haley is 22 years old.
No, I'm not.
Can you shut up for like 2 seconds while I do my bit?
Damn, fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Haley would rather receive physical violence than describe a fun fact about herself.
That's literally so... Oh, shoot.
No, please, Haley, please interrupt me while I'm literally talking about you, please.
Well, good, because that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing forever, infinitely.
And I'm going to get real here for a second. Haley is one of the most intelligent people that I've ever met in my entire life. And unlike me, who knows a little about a lot of things, she knows a lot about a lot of things, which is very uncommon. And Haley's also laughing about the realness of that. The problem about that, though, is that she actually has to care about it in order to figure out those things.
Okay, so I'm not supposed to be interrupting you, I know. But that's like the truest thing. Like, there are things that I should care about that I'm just like, wow, I know literally nothing about that because I don't care at all. But also, I don't even want to tell you how many hours I've spent watching blue whale documentaries this week. Like, not even all whales, not even my entire life, but...
And it's her first week of school going back. So she should be looking at schoolwork stuff, but she's not.
Hey, I look at schoolwork at like 10 o'clock at night.
Shut up,
before
Haley.
it's due.
So there's one crucial thing that you need to know about Haley, and that is that she cares more about whales than you ever will. And I want you to remember that before you go to bed tonight. Just know that she cares more about whales than you ever will, and that your family ever will.
You're making eye contact with me, so I feel like you're telling me to think about that before I go to bed. And like, on the real, I do. I think about that every night before I go to bed.
Well, I didn't want to make eye contact with the microphone, because the microphone doesn't need to know it's an inanimate object. I'm not going to call out the microphone about it.
So low-key, Allie's throwing some shade right now because we're sitting in the same room and I'm just blatantly making eye contact with the microphone. Like, I glance up at Allie every now and again, but I'm just talking to the microphone.
Oh my God. She loves Taco Bell and Harry Styles and her boyfriend in The Office and whatever. And those are all great and important and stuff. Most days she's my manager sometimes, if she's awake or whatever. She is the funniest drunk that I've ever met. And even though this podcast is going to be about books and we're going to talk about it and stuff or whatever, Haley is the epitome of an Aries, and I will never stop talking about that.
That's true. And although we're going to talk about books and stuff, there's a 95% chance, not today, I'm sober today, but there's a 95% chance that the next time you listen to this podcast, I will be drunk.
It's true.
And pretty drunk. So.
And I think that we need to talk about that a little bit more, Haley. So why are you going to be drunk for this literary podcast?
For multiple reasons. First of all, because who doesn't need an excuse to get drunk and talk about books?
Yeah,
right?
I think talking about lit and getting lit is important.
Wow, Allie, we're literally not even an episode deep into this podcast. I already hate you.
This podcast is the end of our friendship.
True. Confirmed. So yeah, basically, if I have to spend time around human beings, I might as well be drunk. And also, I'm probably gonna be drunk while reading the books, so I might as well be drunk talking about it also.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. And I think that this is gonna be the best culmination of our passions and interests, and
Absolutely.
Why not make it the most fun as possible?
Well, and what am I passionate about if not obviously whales, but besides that, random things that I just want to talk about.
Sure.
And being intoxicated occasionally.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So passions.
Should we talk about a few of the things that we have tried and failed before?
Actually, I think instead of talking about the things that we have done, we should talk about what this is going to be, because we sort of alluded at a lot of it.
Yeah.
But we should actually give them real info potentially about what it is that they are contractually signing up for here.
Please, yes. Give them details about the contract, Haley.
Okay, my friends. So, Allie and I, we have said, are going to read books and talk about them.
Yes.
In October, we have decided basically to read a book a month.
Yes.
And podcast about it every week.
Correct.
So, 3 to 5 podcasts per book. We have ideas about what to talk about and such.
Yes.
In a sort of general sense. But the only important things that you guys really need to know is it's a book per month. I lost my train of thought. It's a book per month and some other stuff.
Well, and we're planning on doing specific topics every month with those. So with those topics, there's going to be 2 on specific themes. It's going to be different themes every one that we do. We're going to have one specifically on characters, and then we're going to have one on miscellaneous as well. So you can expect those 4 every month as well. And then if it's a 5-week month, we'll have an additional miscellaneous or specific one as well.
Exactly. And if, I mean, I don't even know if February this upcoming year is a 3 Thursday month, but if there's any 3-week month situations, we'll figure that out as well moving forward.
Right.
But for October, y'all are in for a treat. Hey,
Yes.
oh, I didn't even mean to make that joke. Ayo.
God damn it. Well, I mean, it's still going to be a treat regardless.
It's true. So Allie and I are going to be reading Afterlife by Shelby Westcott for the month of October.
Yes.
And Allie, would you like to tell us a little bit about what that book is? What are we doing here?
Well, I think before I go into a little bit about who Westcott is, because, I mean, she is a treat in and of herself, I think I want to touch on why we love books in and of themselves. Because I prefer specific types of books in and of themselves, but I know that you prefer different kinds of books themselves. So do you want to touch on what kind of books you prefer?
Yeah, so I don't really have a genre of book that I like reading. I have some details about books that I like when books have.
Oh, okay.
That probably doesn't make sense, but so I really like books that have a lot of detail about character dynamics. Like, you know, books that are really slow going and people are like, oh, can we get to the action parts now?
Sure.
I like revel in those books. I'm like, yes, tell me more about these people and their interactions with all the other people in their lives.
Oh my God, I'm like the opposite. Okay.
Real. So that's also going to be a super fun reason that we should get together and talk about books.
Yes.
But yeah, so I basically just really, really love description and like description in general, but most importantly, character dynamic and character growth, which is why one podcast per month is going to be about character. That was my request.
Yes, which I think is just fine. I mean, I know that our common ground is that we prefer series in general.
True.
But I prefer multiple narrators just because I like to be able to see through the eyes of different people. Historical fiction is my preferred area, or contemporary, but I haven't been able to read a lot of like YA as of late. I love memoirs.
Like real memoirs or like fictional memoir? Like what are you talking about?
Well, I mean like memoirs, like autobiographical stuff. I don't think I've read a lot of like fictional memoir stuff. But I mean, I think that would be enjoyable. I mean, I mainly read now audiobooks and ebook stuff just because I commute and stuff, so that's mainly how I consume. But I know that you usually read like actual like hardcover book stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not like one of those people who thinks that like ebooks aren't real books. Like, you know, follow your bliss.
Otherwise,
or chase
we
your
might.
bliss or whatever.
Otherwise, we might have a little bit of a problem here.
Fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do usually read like books, like physical books. It helps to like have something in my hand.
Sure.
I've always wondered though about like audiobooks and informational podcasts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I've always meant to like put one on the background and see what kind of information you really gain and like, I don't know, what really sticks with you from that kind of like subconscious listening / input, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think that there is some value in being able to have the book in front of you and also listen to it as well. It's not something that I do a lot of, but I think that would be valuable as well. So that is valuable. I don't know, I just don't have time as of late to be able to just like sit down and read, and I just prefer to be able to have someone read to me.
Fair.
But I think that it'll be interesting to see what kind of books that we come up with, since we have different tastes of what we look for in books now.
Exactly. I think the thing that like really makes this work going forward is that we both do like series, and even though we like different things about them, we both like series, and we both have been really itching for a reason to read YA novels, etc., like lit for fun, but specifically YA novels.
No, I agree. And that's why I think that the one that we've chosen for October is going to be really valuable because of the fact that it is YA, but it's a very specific kind of YA, because I think Afterlife in particular is a good ease into it because of the fact that it was written by Shelby Westcott, and she's someone who's really special for both of us because of the fact that she is a teacher from the high school that we graduated from. She doesn't teach there now. She teaches at a different high school because she's a traitor. But I think that because of the fact that we know her, not only her literal voice and the way that she sounds, but being able to experience her literary voice is a very special way of kind of connecting with a YA novel.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a really great way to sort of go from 0 to 100 in this.
No, I agree. And I took her classes because I had English with her. I had journalism with her all 4 years.
Yeah, she was like a really influential part of your like high school experience, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she is one of the teachers that, I mean, I've wanted to be a teacher since I was 6 years old, but yeah, exactly, since I was a little chunk. But if I looked at teachers in high school who were the most influential for me, she is definitely one of the ones that I would choose for sure.
Yeah. Well, and like I knew Westcott through you and like through the friend group that we were all sort of like a part of, but I actually never took a journalism, a creative writing. I never took any of her classes.
Yeah.
I did sort of take journalism, and by take journalism, I mean I skipped my AP Gov class every single day of second semester senior year.
Because you were always there.
Literally. So much so that I like got to a point in our like school newspaper where I had bylines, and I was like staying after school editing with the like editor-in-chief of the school newspaper.
God bless Samantha.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Samantha and I put in more hours that semester than anyone else, which is funny because like she's the editor, but I wasn't even in that class.
No.
Or the club, or literally anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Westcott was like, who is this kid? But like, thanks for helping to get the paper done.
That's the thing is, see, okay, funny story. And Westcott, if you're listening to this, I'm so sorry here. I'm going to put you on blast for a moment.
If Westcott listens to this, I'm going to cry.
Fair point. She's probably busy doing real human things.
Or taking care of her kids.
Yeah, that one. So like, I'm pretty sure Westcott just like acknowledged the fact that I wasn't in her class, but because I was doing so much work for it, she just literally never made eye contact with me.
Probably.
Like, we didn't even speak at all that semester. I just snuck in, and she would like make announcements to the class, and she would just pretend to make not, or she would just like pretend to not make eye contact with me, and just like not acknowledge that I was there.
God bless, honestly.
Yeah, so Westcott doesn't even really know that I exist, I'm pretty sure.
That's fair. So I think that being able to have someone that we know makes this an easy transition for us. And I don't know that we will choose one-offs much throughout the podcast just because it's not something that we really enjoy, but it makes it an easy one just to kind of start this off. But I think that this is also an easy one to start off with because of the fact that it's a spooky book, which is nice for October as well.
Exactly. When we were sort of rough drafting this idea, this podcast idea, we were trying to figure out what we were going to start with. And of course, I sort of berated you to try to start with a series of unfortunate events until we realized that would be one book a month would be literally over a year.
Right. So we could just do a series of unfortunate events podcast, Haley.
That would be so funny.
Jesus.
We should totally do. Anyways,
Haley.
We're already doing this. I know. I'm here. But so yeah, Allie and I both really like spooky stuff. We both, I mean, I live for Halloween. I don't know what you live for, but
Christmas.
Yeah. Ugh. But
I literally live for Christmas.
I wait for Halloween November 1st until September 30th. Literally, my whole year is just about like how close are we to Halloween. So I'm super excited about Afterlife because I haven't read it, but I've heard that it's a spooky book. And then when I was sort of like getting into trying to figure out what this book was, and I went to Westcott's website and like tried to read the summary type stuff of this, I'm really, really excited for this book. Like, it seems like it's gonna be exactly what our October podcast needed to be.
No, I agree. I haven't read it since it came out in 2014, and I have a terrible memory, so I don't really remember anything that it was about. I also went through and reread the summary to try to remember what I even thought about it. And I looked through, obviously, like the picture that's on the cover, and it's spooky. All I remember is I live tweeted it during that time, and Wes got just cackling at me because I couldn't sleep during that time because I was scared as hell about it.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of my ideal version of a book.
Right.
So I think, Allie, why don't you sort of tell us what you think? I mean, I know you read it before, but like you said, your memory's not that great. Why don't you sort of tell us what you think this book is like gonna be about? And like,
Well, I obviously think that it's going to be about the supernatural, right? So, dealing with the title, there's a couple of meanings that have to do with afterlife. So, one of them is the supernatural meaning of what occurs when someone dies. And so there's the idea of the afterlife of the place that things go to when they die. So it could be that it's the religious context or not the religious context, but it notes to a significant passing. But there's also the meaning of afterlife that's not necessarily related to dying, but that there was an event that separated from before life and your afterlife.
sort of like the pre and post, even if the event isn't death, like your life is separated by
Correct.
the pre-event and post-event.
Yeah, so you have like a before life and an afterlife, but there was something that created that. So just looking at the cover of it, there's a small child in pajamas that's walking through a doorway, and there's like this white light that's on the other side, which is spooky as hell. And in the doorway, there's this barren field that's around it with bare trees in the background, and it just is scary because children are freaky within these scary contexts just because of the fact that there's these social ideas of kids understand multiple worlds.
So, okay, I don't know if any of you listeners or Allie go on the Reddit thread about the spooky stuff.
Okay.
Whatever.
I mean, I know the no sleep one.
So I don't remember what thread it was, but I read this thread one time that was the scary stuff that my children have said to me.
Okay,
Which
sure.
basically, in summary, was that children may or may not, but definitely do, have access to information about this universe that we lose growing up. The
Okay.
amount of parents who said that their children have come to them and be and been oh yes, I remember when I was with a different family and then we all burned to death, and I'm dude, what? Kids are so scary and they just know everything, whether they actually believe and whether they lived those experiences or whether they just have this knowledge that these things happen in the universe. Either way is freaky as heck.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and because of the fact that they don't have all the social cues yet, they're able to say things and not necessarily filter them yet. And so even if it's, I don't know, they say things that adults don't say. And whether that's because they don't have access to language yet, or if it's because they don't have the social filters to not say those things, they just say scary stuff that we wouldn't say 10 or 20 years older. And so, and just the idea that there's kids, you're a parent and you wake up and there's a kid that's 2 inches from your face and you're just not supposed to scream, or just not supposed to punch them. I don't know. They're just scary.
In this podcast, we have learned that Allie should not have children because she's going to punch them.
Sometimes
that's all we really needed.
I have a fight reflex is what I have. Why don't you get to your predictions?
Okay, well, so like I said, had never read this book, had never been exposed to this book in any way except the fact that Westcott exists.
Did you even know that she wrote books until I told you?
I knew that she wrote the other series, the Verulian series, but I had no idea that this book even existed until you were well, why don't we just read, if we don't want to do the Verulian series right away, why don't we just read Afterlife? Or I think it was actually because it was spooky for October, but whatever. So I went forward and I was like, well, obviously the title Afterlife implies that, I thought it was obvious, implies that it's going to have something to do with what happens after death and the dying ordeal, so to speak.
Sure.
And then, personally, I think it's going to be about ghosts. This might be wishful thinking. This might be the cover leading me to this. Might be some combination thereof, but I'm excited because ghosts are literally the only thing that I find, like, spooky. I mean, like spiders and stuff, but, like, I don't find murderers spooky. I don't find demonic stuff very spooky. So, like, I'm really hoping that it'll be about ghosts and pumped for it to be.
I thought you were going to say pumpkin. I was like, I have a few questions.
And pumpkin.
I'm really pumpkin about it.
I mean, that's my new catchphrase, though, for real.
Honestly, same.
Real. I also think that it might be like a narrative of a soul stuck in the here and now because, like, I don't know, that always seems like the afterlife. It's either going to be basically, here's what I think, honestly. It's either going to be a narrative about a soul stuck in the here and now that has to accomplish a mission to be able to move forward because that's sort of like a normal afterlife trope. Or, I don't know if you've ever seen Defending Your Life, Allie, but it's this book, or it's this movie that my mom showed me when I was a kid, and it's about this guy who dies and, like, goes to heaven or the afterlife, so to speak, and basically he's put on trial. He's shown every single moment of his life, and they say, if you are a good person, you get to, like, go to heaven, and if you are a bad person, you go back to earth and have to start over. So he has to, like... Anyways, the point is that I think this book also has the possibility of being like an exploration of what happens after you die if you don't get stuck on Earth, like the organic evolution to the happy place.
Yeah, just the usual kind of novel or movie that you show a child. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay.
Fair. Yeah,
Fair.
Please. Yeah.
So that's on it.
That sounds dope as hell, though.
It is, and it's awesome, which is the same thing as dope as hell. So yeah, that's like a really plausible option, I think, for this book.
I can dig it. I'm curious to see, because I know when I looked it up on Amazon, it was 451 pages. So there's a fair amount of space to be able to delve into what Scott thinks about the afterlife or what this story is trying to explain about the afterlife. Because, I mean, I think that there's obviously that idea of, like, it's not really what she necessarily thinks about the afterlife, it's what the story thinks about the afterlife.
But, like, also, is that real? I know the authors say that a lot. Like, it's not what I think, it's what my characters think. But, like, also, if you're going to write about, like, an experience, doesn't have to be some part of your own brain that connects with that experience. Do you think that that's, like, I don't think you can just write about something that you don't believe in at all, you know what I mean?
I think that that's fair. I mean, I think that you wouldn't be able to stick with a story for that long if it doesn't resonate with you in some way. But I think that, like, if you're writing a story about, like, a murderer, you know, like, that part doesn't resonate with you, right? But if you're writing a story, there's got to be some parts of, like, a main character that you're drawing on either what you know about or what you know about the world in some ways, because, like, you wouldn't be able to just draw up experiences that you pulled from, like, Wikipedia, right?
Yeah.
Without making them seem authentic to a reader.
Exactly. Or, like, you can't pull something out of midair. Like, you have to in some way believe / connect with it on a real level as a human being.
But I do think that you can write about things that you don't know, just because of the fact that, like, you can imagine worlds that don't exist. But I do think that they have to come from some way or some place that resonates with you, because that's the way that, like, because you can feel authenticity as a reader, because that's the way that they connect. It's not going to be able to necessarily connect with all readers, but I do think that as a reader, you can feel authenticity versus not. It just comes across that way.
So I think for now, we're going to have to sort of agree to disagree about that, because I don't think you can just write about something that you don't believe. So I think that that'll be a really, really interesting thing to move forward in, like, this discussion.
Yeah.
Like, when we talk about afterlife, it'll be really interesting to move forward, like, trying to delve into whether this idea just gets pulled out of nowhere, or whether you have to connect with it, like, and believe in it really as a person before you can write about it.
Because I don't know if, like, I could write about reincarnation if I didn't believe in reincarnation.
Exactly. And in much the same way that I can't write about the experience of a black teenage boy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I
like,
agree.
I think that there's something inherently, like, it has to be really a part of your soul for you to be able to delve in as much as you have to delve in to write a book about it.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea. I just know that in, like, the theories that I've read about English, there's the idea that, like, the author has to be at some point disconnected from their work, but I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. So it'll be interesting to kind of think about as we move forward with these, like, these works, and think about that as well.
Exactly. And, like, interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see how these predictions will move forward as we go into actually reading this work for sure. When will we be podcasting next? It'll be October 6th?
Yes, the 6th of October, we will be podcasting. And we will have read some of the book at that point, and we will actually be discussing content of Afterlife.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because we're not going to break it up, to my knowledge, I think, Allie, we're not going to break it up by, like, the first some odd chapters. We're just going to read it at our own pace in the next month.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see if, like, by next week it's so catching that we're, like, already into it, or if we're still, like, dragging our heels getting into reading it.
No, I agree. Yeah. As far as our social media, we did set up specific social media for our podcast. Our Twitter is Chapters in Chill, so it's an N rather than our AND, so it's Chapters and Chill. Our email is Allie and Haley Reed, so it's my name and then haleyreed@gmail.com. I know that we will be setting up a Patreon as this goes along. That way we can kind of front the reading costs. As far as Westcott's book, I know right now it's on Amazon for $2.99 for the digital version, which I would recommend just because you can get the Kindle app on any device. And
True. I've downloaded it on my Mac and on my phone in the past, like, week, and yeah.
Yeah, I know the print version is $15.99, but I know that $2.99 for most people is a reasonable price to be able
Exactly.
to pay.
Even me, who prefers the physical copies, that it was absolutely reasonable for me to just,
Yeah, I know that it's not that bad. I mean, $2.99 is, like, it's a lot for some people. Like, it will add up, but it's not like $10 kind of thing.
Exactly.
We are setting up, like, a Slack, which we'll talk about a little bit more next week.
Once we have actual content to, like, discuss and to have you guys help us discuss things.
Yeah, and then we are going to have a Tumblr page as well, which we'll talk about a little bit more next week. But mainly just for now, we have our Twitter account, which is Chapters and Chill.
And that is where you can get all of our magical updates, all of the times we post stuff, all of the stupid things we have to say, etc., etc.
Yeah. Haley, do you want to share any of your personal social media?
No. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so basically I have a Twitter that's Haley_Brie.
Wow.
Yep, thank you. My name is really hard to spell, so good luck, because we're on a podcast. And I'm not going to spell it for you, so good luck with that one. So, like, it's just gonna, it's just roll the dice, see if it happens for you. And if not, it wasn't meant to be. There we go.
I love that, actually. I love that a lot. And I will just give you my Twitter, because that basically links you to everything else. And it's 23andme.
It's 23andme?
Yeah.
I have lived, you changed it to that years ago.
Yeah.
And I have lived up until this moment thinking it was 23 of me. It's 23andme?
It's actually 23 of me.
Okay. You got your own Twitter wrong. I feel so proud that I knew your Twitter handle better than you did.
Yeah, you did. It was actually just a quiz so that you could prove how much you knew me.
Well, I
Did
aced
you
it.
literally do a digital hair flip?
No, you guys, she's making that up. It didn't happen. Also, my hair's up, so it would be really dumb if I did
Oh
that.
my god. Yeah, it's 23 of me, not to be confused with that stupid.
Yeah, so, okay. Whoever has the other 23 and me or 23 situation.
That's what I was trying to say. I was confusing it with that stupid genetic testing one.
There's this,
not
like-
them, because they use the numbers and I use the letters one.
Yeah. And I've creeped on their Twitter multiple times because it's
I don't make you
almost
pay
yours.
for genetic testing. 'Cause
True,
they're
but I mean, you
stupid.
could. It's awesome.
But I don't have genetic testing results, so.
True, but do you remember that time that Ashlyn got her dogs genetically tested so she could figure out what kind of breeds they were? That's like
I do remember
the
that,
coolest and most awesome and like
That's pretty extra, actually.
it's really extra in the best way. Like what kind of person do you have to be to genetically test your dogs? I'm in love with it. I want to genetically test my dogs. I don't even have dogs.
No, you don't. You don't have dogs. Anyway, Haley.
Anyways,
So that's our social media. And I am not going to spell Haley's name for you. But the easiest way to find it is that our Twitter account is following both of us.
and I actually followed us back and you have not, so that's awkward. I'm our only follower right now.
I thought I did, but
You
I'll
didn't.
check that.
So yeah, this podcast, Chaps and Chili, as it is henceforth known,
Yeah, chaps and chili is my favorite thing.
literally. It's gonna be great, and I'm really excited about moving forward with this book reading situation.
Me too. I'm really excited to read it again and potentially not sleep. Yeah.
Team No Sleep.
V spooky.
The spooky. I'm
Be
so
spooky.
excited.
And there's one thing that needs to happen before this podcast can properly be ended, Haley.
Yes. I just wanted to say, for all of you out there, I feel God in this Chili's tonight. And I just thank you so much for listening. And that's going to be me pretty much every podcast, so good luck with that one, you guys.
Yeah, I think that we can't properly end this podcast without having some sort of Office reference.
Yeah, in case you guys don't watch The Office on repeat like I do, Pam one time gets really drunk and says that in a Chili's.
Yeah.
Just pretty much for no reason, so
Yeah,
there you are.
and seeing as Haley will be drunk in most of these episodes, and she cares a lot about The Office, it seems pretty apropos.
Well, and our podcast is literally named Chaps and Chili.
Yeah.
It's not. Allie won't let me name it that, you guys, but I really think it should be named that.
Okay. It's just going to be Chapters and Chill.
I know, but...
Yeah.
Or.
But I also feel God in this Chili's tonight.
And with that, goodbye, y'all.
Goodbye.